Hello, welcome to Garden Theory. My name's Zach, and today we're going to talk about native plants. And you may be wondering, Zach, those beautiful white trees behind you, are those native plants? No, these are actually called Bradford pears, and they're a reason why we're going to talk about native plants today. Hey guys, so decided to record in the office since it started getting really windy outside. But you're probably wondering, what is Garden Theory? This is the first week that we're launching the channel. We have a total of 5 videos going out today. Essentially, what Garden Theory is a channel that I, Zachary, wanted to create to make a space that would be more informative about different things regarding nature and gardening in general. So we're going to be talking about a lot about landscape design, gardening, different styles, how we can be better stewards of the environment. So all those kind of things. And the reason I put garden theory is because really you can talk about pretty much anything with gardening. It's something that connects us all through horticulture, whether it be through food production, flower arranging. There's so much that goes into it. And so I kind of want to just explore everything. So if there's anything that you would like to see a video to dive into, put them down in the comment, and we're going to continue to make probably at least one video a week is what we're going to try going forward. So I know next week will be our next video, and we'll be talking about landscape design and architecture, but we're going to talk about new topics every week. We're going to talk about invasive plants. So definitely subscribe if you're interested in that. It'll be a journey for me. Pretty new to video editing, so hopefully the quality of the videos get better over time. Continue to give me feedback on what I can do better, and I'll continue to try to give y'all the best information I can. If I ever get anything wrong, please correct me in the comments, and I'll be sure to correct that. So thank you, and I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the video. So kind of a guideline for this video. We're going to first talk about native plants. We're also going to briefly talk about invasive plants. And especially when you want to learn about native plants, and specifically how do I bring native plants back to your own backyard. Understanding native plants is a big part of how to restore native plants and ecosystems back. But first we're going to talk about a few terms, and hopefully you don't fall asleep through this part. But we're going to talk about just a couple basic terms. We're not going to go super in depth in this video. This video is more of an introduction. But one thing you need to learn with native plants, there's many different ways to describe native plants. There's cultivars of native plants, which are what you usually see at most nurseries if you're looking for natives. There are natives to a region, so like a plant that's native to the eastern half of the United States. And then there's native plants that are native to your state. And then there are native plants that are native to your region. And then going down even farther, there are native plants that are native to your local ecotype, which is specifically your area. It's very local. Usually it's within a watershed boundary. And those plants of your local ecotype area are plants that have evolved and lived right where you live for thousands of years. And those are the best plants to plant in your area, because those are the plants that have lived there, evolved with the insects of your area. And you'll quickly learn with native plants, there's a lot to learn about them. But hopefully we can break it down for you, and we're going to have a lot of fun going over native plants today. When you're first learning about native plants, a good thing to also learn about is invasive plants. A great resource that I got when I was first learning about it here in my local area in Northwest Arkansas was a training class I did while I worked at Crystal Bridges with our local watershed authority. And so they gave me this really great pamphlet on invasive plants of Northwest Arkansas, kind of a little field guide. A lot of your watershed alliances and local like master gardener associations will have a similar guide like this. This is one that I really like, specifically used for the invasive plants of Northwest Arkansas, because every different area you live in is going to have different invasive plants and native plants. And so this is a great one. For example, I can look into it, and for example, this is a page on Japanese honeysuckle. So hopefully you can see it, but essentially they kind of give you pictures to ID it, descriptions, how to properly remove it. Because a lot of times with invasives, especially aggressive invasives, they're really hard to get rid of, and you kind of have to know how the plant works. Because, for example, like Tree of Heaven, if you just chop it and you don't do anything else, 10 more sprouts are going to come up the next year. So, learning about how each plant works individually is a great understanding of how to remove invasive plants, so then you can restore areas for native plants. And this guide, and this one in particular, kind of gives you a step by step on how to restore things and gives you some pictures and some ideas how to do that. So, finding resources either with your local watershed authority, like master gardeners or other associations that we'll talk about in this video, is a great first start into learning about native plants, and also to learn about your site and your local area specifically, to learn about what are the best methods to go about introducing native plants back to an area. So highly recommend getting a book like this, um, specifically for your local area, because one thing you'll learn about native plants is a lot of it's based off of your local ecotype region. So you may be wondering, while we're talking about native plants, you may be wondering, how can I find native plants to my local ecotype or even my region? And a great resource I want to share with y'all is the Wild Ones. They're a really great organization that really promote native plants. And they're really easy to find. It's wildones.org. And you can find a local chapter in your area. And they're in, it says here, 34 states, so almost nationwide, especially in the eastern area of the United States. But you can come down here, you can click your state. I'll click Arkansas for me. And you can find your local chapters in your area. You can go to their website. So for me, it's Wild Ones Ozark chapter. And they have a lot of great resources on native plants. They do a lot of classes as well and seminars, at least for my area. Um, and they have, if you go up here, at least on my chapter, they have a section for buy native plants. And so if you're trying to find native plants specifically to your area, which it says right here, this is a list of nurseries that they have worked with and recommend on finding plants that are native to our area, as well as seeds specific to your area. So this is a great resource to start off with, finding those resources. So another great resource I wanted to put in this video, when we're learning about native plants for the first time, like I said earlier, you want to learn the plants native to your local area. But a great place to start is just learning learning the plants that are native to your state. And so this is a book that I got last year. It's a pretty new book for the state of Arkansas, specifically for the trees and shrubs and vines of Arkansas. It doesn't go quite into perennials, mainly on woody stuff. But learning from books like these for your state in particular, it's a great way to learn about native plants. This is a really great one that I like, because it has a lot of pictures of the plant during different times of the year. Because as we know, plant looks a lot different in the winter than it does in the spring. Knowing when it flowers, what to look for, as well as in this book particularly, it highlights the counties you can find this plant at. So this is a great plant, or sorry, not a great plant, but a great book to look into, specifically for Arkansas for trees. But learning about native plants for your area, again, is a very key point. If there's any native plants in particular you would like me to do a deep dive into, we can definitely do a plant highlight video in the future. So just let me know. And again, subscribe if you're liking the video so far. Hopefully we'll continue to produce better content for you, and we'll continue to teach y'all more about native plants. If there's one that you're wanting to learn more about, just let me know down in the comment. And again, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. After all this talk about native plants and invasives, one of the questions that might pop up to you is, why are native plants so important? Why do I need to get plants, even in my local ecotype or area? Why is this such a big deal? And one of the reasons is because for a long time, especially here in the U.S. Native plants weren't always considered as often when planting stuff, so a lot of times exotic plants such as Chinese privet, Bradford pears, nandinas, burning bush, all these ornamental plants were brought in. But very quickly, those plants escaped what we would consider normal, and their flower beds escaped into the ecosystems and have caused a lot of havoc. And you can see that quite plainly once you learn about it. It's a nationwide problem. Native invasive plants outcompete native plants. And here in Northwest Arkansas specifically, probably the worst one is Chinese privet. Pretty much takes over the whole understory of forests. And so no perennials can live underneath it. No new trees can grow from the darkness of it just overbearing on everything. And so eventually over time you get old growth trees, privet, and then eventually it'll just be privet. And so it really outcompetes everything. Invasive plants typically don't provide a whole lot of nourishment for birds and wildlife species. So overall, it's just detrimental to the ecosystems that have evolved for thousands of years. And yes, of course, like over time, things will adapt and change. But with this unnatural introduction to things by us humans, a lot of the world that we live in is pretty out of whack, which is why you see so many declining birds and insect species across the whole United States. And so, by providing these resources, even if it's a small area like your backyard, providing these areas of native plants can help to provide that little bit of food and nourishment that your native plant and insect species need. And a lot of these plants have developed relationships with these plants, and when there's no more of them, then there's nowhere else for these insects to go. So that's why it's such a big deal to plant native plants. And we're going to do some more deep dives. We may go on a field trip on one of these videos to some projects in my area where they've restored several wetland areas. There's a great one near the Fayetteville Public Library we may go to, where you can directly see how far their project was able to go, because it's super nice, well developed, restored stream banks, and then it's immediately super erosion river, tons of privet, and it's probably one of the best places to see the difference between native and invasive plants. So we're definitely going to go there, probably in another video when we do a deep dive into restoring habitats, which will be a video we'll go into about how to restore native wildflowers. So hopefully we got a lot of stuff planned. So hopefully you can enjoy and have fun on this ride. Well, I think that's going to be it for today. I thank you if you watched the whole video up to this point. This is just an introduction into native and invasive plant species. Again, I highly encourage you to look up local resources in your area to learn more about the plants that have evolved for thousands of years right outside your back door. It's an amazing topic. I really enjoy native plants. We didn't talk too much about different types of native plants, didn't go into too much detail on naming some, but we'll do that in the future when we go, especially maybe not next episode, but the next few episodes, we'll talk about native plants you can use in landscape design for your home, how to restore native wildflower meadows and prairies in your backyard, how to set up wildlife habitats, rain ponds, all sorts of fun stuff in the future. So if all that sounds interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. I promise these videos are going to get better over time. If you have any critiques for me, please leave them down in the comments. Let me know if I got anything wrong. If it said something, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to correct anything. But with that, I thank you for watching the video, and I hope y'all all have a wonderful day, and remember to plant a seed of kindness today. Thank you.